Determine the values of k for which 2x squared plus 7x plus k equals 0 has no real roots. This part of the wording of this question is supposed to be the trigger. It's supposed to make you think about the discriminant. Because how many roots we have, remember from yesterday's class, the discriminant is the part of the quadratic formula. Here, I'll write out the whole quadratic formula for you. The whole quadratic formula is there. The discriminant is this part of the quadratic formula. And that part of the quadratic formula tells us whether we have no roots, one root, or two roots, because you're plus or minusing something. If the yellow part is a positive number, you plus or minus a positive number, you will get two roots. If it's 0, you plus or minus 0, you have one root. And if it's negative, you'll plus or minus the square root of a negative number, which is impossible, and you'll have no roots. So the fact that this question says it has no real roots is supposed to trigger you to think about the discriminant. If it does, then this question's not bad. What do we need? We need the b squared minus 4ac. If it's going to have no real roots, we need this to be negative. How do we write that mathematically? By saying that it has to be less than 0. Are you okay with less than 0 meaning negative? Now what's b? b is 7. 7 squared. Minus 4. What's a? A is 2. What's c? C is what we don't know. That's our k value. So we need to solve this equation for k. And we're going to have to review some of our inequalities from grade 10. What would you like to do with this next? Multiply the numbers out to make them easier? Okay, 7 squared is 49. 4 times 2, this will be minus 8k less than 0. Inequalities act like an equal sign except for one special rule. Do you remember the one special rule where inequalities do something different? Something about switching them. Sometimes you switch the inequalities when you divide by a negative or if you multiply by a negative. So the special inequalities rule, maybe it's nice to remind ourselves up here off to the side. Inequalities rule. When you multiply or divide by a negative, the inequality changes or it flips. In this case, what could I do next? I can move the 49 over, okay, by subtracting 49 on both sides. If I were to do that, do I flip my sign? I dealt with a negative, but I subtracted. Sign stays the same. My special rule doesn't come into effect. Now, if I want to get k by itself, I have to divide by negative 8. And I'll get 49 over 8. K has to be bigger than 49 over 8. So whenever k is bigger than 49 over 8, we will have that this has no real roots. Part B to this question says, use one value of k to write an equation that has no real roots. Can someone tell me a number that fits into this? K is bigger than 49 over 8. 7 bigger than 49 over 8? It is. Okay? Because 48 over 8 would be 6. 7 would be 56 over 8. So 7 is an answer that would work. So an example of this equation, we rewrite the whole equation, 2x squared plus 7x, and for k, we chose 7. And any number would work, right? If you wanted to be really safe, k has to be bigger than 49 over 8, you could put down 8 billion. I hope this is bigger than that fraction. And that would be right. As long as you write one equation that fits. If you wanted to afterwards, you could make sure, does this have no real roots? If I do my discriminant part, x equals negative b plus or minus b squared, which would be 49, minus 4 times 2 times c over 2 times a. If I do that, can you see that this is negative? Because you're going to get 49 minus 56. You're going to get a negative number. Perfect. No real roots. So my choice of 7 was a good one. Questions for practice on this one are 8, 9, and 10.